It's easily a top 3 card across all issuers and arguably American Express's best card. In today's video, we're looking at the 7 best American Express cards for dining. So whether you're someone who does a lot of takeout or you like fancy restaurants, these are the cards for you. Before we dive into all of this, big favor is to give this a thumbs up, sacrifice your thumbs for the algorithm gods, and if you are someone new here, consider subscribing. Also, kind of for fun, but what's your favorite food emoji? Mine has to be pizza. That little detail of the cheese is chef's kiss. Moving away from that awkwardness, the big obvious question is, why are we separating American Express cards from all these other ones? It's because they have a crap ton of cards. More importantly though is because there isn't opportunity cost. So number one, technically there is a once in a lifetime rule for the bonuses compared to other issuers where you can actually repeat it every 2 years or so. This pretty much means that you don't really want to consider these cards unless you are done with those cards, or if you just don't want that many cards and you want an American Express. Number two is that American Express generally hates low spenders. I've seen a ton of new people, especially students, that end up getting American Express cards that end up in pop-up jail. So this is when they realize that you don't spend enough money, that you're not their target audience, and they just decide to not give you future bonuses. You can spend your way out of that, but you don't really want to put yourself in that position. Number three is that the best starting point for American Express tends to be the Platinum due to elevated offers. You do not need to work your way up to the Platinum and build a relationship with them. Tons of people, and arguably the optimal strategy is to start with the Platinum. The rationale is that if you are not a customer, then American Express dangles a very good bonus in front of you, typically 150,000 points for the Platinum card via card match. I'll leave a blog post down below talking about how to do all the card match stuff. Even if you do get the 150k offer, please make sure that the Platinum card makes sense for you, play with the calculator that we have on AskSebby, and yeah, just make sure you're making a rational decision. With all that out of the way, let's look at the crap ton of options. Number one is going to be the Gold card. Given the earn rate and the fact that it earns MR points, membership reward points, it's one of the best cards out there. With this card, you earn 4x back for restaurants worldwide. Unlike some of the other cards that we're going to talk about, this one is worldwide. Some of the other ones are US only. There is a $250 annual fee, which tends to scare a lot of people, but it's a lot more reasonable than you think. So number one is that you get a $120 Uber credit. It is broken down into $10 every month, which is pretty annoying, but I think for a lot of people that they're targeting and a lot of people considering the card, it's something that's relatively easy to use. If you're someone who doesn't use Uber, then you can use it for jump bikes and also some other Uber products such as Uber Eats. I hate to admit this, but I do end up using Uber even if I don't have credit for Uber Eats, sometimes because I'm lazy and just working. If you're someone more about the value and you don't want to pay for that delivery, then you can go pick it up. It depends on your location and the restaurant, but I find that a lot of places end up having the same pricing as the pickup price. Your mileage may vary. I'm also in San Francisco, which is the epicenter of all these delivery apps. If you don't use Uber, then make sure to discount this, but for me, 120 is 120 here. The other part of it is that you get a 120 dining credit that's also broken down monthly. This works for Grubhub, Seamless, Cheesecake Factory, Ruth's Chris, Boxed, and participating Shake Shacks. An easy solution is to do Grubhub pickup, but for me, I end up just doing Shake Shack. So you could argue 250 minus 120 minus 120 is a $10 effective annual fee. Not really the focus of the video, but you also earn 4x back in US supermarkets on up to $25,000 in spend in a calendar year. So if you like to eat out, but you also like to eat at home, then that's not a bad pick. If you're curious about how many points you're going to earn and the value that you get from the card in a year, we do have a calculator on our site that I'll link down below. So for example, if you value Uber at only 50%, then you can do that. On that note, if you do want to learn more about the Gold card or pretty much any other card out there, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise, it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. Next up to bat is the Green card. With the Green, you get 3x back on restaurants, but there is a $150 annual fee. Ironically, the effective annual fee here might be a little bit higher compared to the Gold. You do end up getting some credits to help you offset this. The first one is a $100 credit for Clear, and the second one, a $100 credit for Lounge Buddy. I feel like Clear is surprisingly valuable even for people who have TSA pre-check because pre-check lines have gotten pretty long. If you have both of them, then you can use Clear to get to the front of the pre-check line. For the Lounge Buddy credits, you can use it through their app, but I feel like if you have Priority Pass, it might be a lot less valuable. So even though you have $200 in credits for a $150 annual fee, I feel like it's a lot less tangible, especially because if you have these credits from other cards, maybe the value is zero. Okay, cool, then why would I even consider the Green instead of the Gold? The Green card is very much positioned as a Platinum Light. It's also one of the few American Express cards that can act as all-in-one cards. So on top of the 3x for dining, you also get 3x for transit, such as subways, trains, and buses. On top of that, you also get 3x back for travel as a category, so this includes cruises, car rentals, and also hotel and airfares. The Gold card in contrast does get you 3x back, but it's only for flights either booked through AmexTravel.com or directly with airlines. So flights in a very specific way, versus travel as a whole category. In a lot of ways, American Express doesn't want you to just have the gold card, they want you to have either the gold and platinum or the gold and green. Probably not desired by American Express, but a pretty common setup is the gold and the Chase Sapphire preferred or the reserve. And also probably soon to be the Venture X. One of the big weaknesses of the green card and also the gold card is that you don't have a downgrade path into a no annual fee card. So if your lifestyle changes, if you have a kid or something and you're not traveling for a few years, maybe 5 to 7 years, then you're going to be in a weird spot. In case you're wondering, you cannot downgrade to the everyday card or the blue cash everyday. So should I avoid the card? Not necessarily, it just means that you need to account for a potential keep or cancel decision in the future. What if I want an all-in-one card that also has lounge access? I think the Bonvoy Brilliant card might be the card for you. You get 6x back for Marriott hotels, 3x back for US restaurants, 3x for flights booked directly with the airline, and 2x for everything else. American Express membership reward points transfer to Bonvoy at a 1-to-1 rate normally, so in a lot of ways very similar to the green card, but I would still say it's worse because you don't have that optionality. So by definition, membership reward points are substantially more valuable because you don't have to transfer them to Marriott. You can, but you have the option to transfer them elsewhere. With MR points, it's one of many partners. In that case, why should we even consider this card if it's worse than the green? The main reason is because unlike the green, I think it's a lot easier for this card to pay for itself. There is a $450 annual fee, which sounds very scary, but you get a $300 Bonvoy credit. This is per card member year, and it pretty much triggers the moment you stay at any Bonvoy property. So whether you're using it for a room rate for a cheap hotel or expensive hotel, or ordering food when you're staying there, then it triggers that credit. If you travel anyways and you don't want to be too pedantic, I think you can value that at $300, so $450 minus $300 is a $150 effective annual fee. One of the other benefits is that you get a $50K certificate every card member anniversary, so pretty much every year that you keep the card. For 50,000 points, it's not hard to find a place that's going to cost at least $200 to maybe even $400 or $500. Your mileage may vary, but I think these are super useful for a romantic weekend. Even if you barely break even on this, there's still other benefits of the card. You get Bonvoy Gold status, and more importantly, you get Priority Pass. So even if you discount the credits and that certificate night, you're getting a pretty subsidized Priority Pass. This is definitely one of my favorite keeper cards out there, and the only better one to me from American Express is the next card. Number 4 is the Hilton Aspire. You get 7x on US restaurants, 14x for Hilton bookings, and also 7x for select travel. Reminder that the 7x that you're earning here is Hilton points and not MR points, so very different. Similar to Hilton and all their other partners, you can transfer from American Express MR points to the partners, but not the other way around. So no, there is no way to transfer these Hilton points into more MR points. MR generally goes to Hilton at 1 to 2 and sometimes 1 to 3 during promotions. This means that the 7x for dining is effectively 2.3x to 3.5x MR. On average about the green card value, but still worse than the gold. This card also has a $450 annual fee, but you get a $250 Hilton Resort credit. This only does work for Hilton Resorts, but it's pretty broad. So for example, if you go to a lakeside place in Texas, in Dallas, that works. And if you go to Niagara Falls, that also works. And there's a bunch of Vegas ones. It does not need to be some far-flung destination beach place. The base rate or any charges that you do there will trigger this. You also get a $250 airline incidental credit, and it's the same thing as the Platinum one. If you know what you're doing, it's very easy to use. $250 minus $250 is effectively them paying you $50 to keep the card. That's before considering the 3 other benefits. The first one is that you get a weekend night certificate for every year that you keep the card, and this works at a lot of expensive properties. So we ended up using it at the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives, which generally runs at $2,000 a night. If you don't want to go that far, then I'd look into either Hawaii or ski resorts. As long as you can find standard availability, then you can use that weekend night. You also get Hilton Diamond status and Priority Pass as well. Out of the box without doing crazy amounts of spend, I think this is the king of hotel keeper cards. If life happens, you can downgrade this into the Surpass or the no annual fee Hilton. That leads into the next card, which is the Surpass. This is a great card if you're someone who loves Hilton points and you're looking for an all-around card. In a lot of ways, this is American Express's answer to the City Premier. You get 6x for dining, US supermarkets, and also gas stations. So effectively 2 to 3x MR points based off the transfer rates. There is a $95 annual fee, and unlike the Aspire card, you don't get a certificate night. You do have to spend $15,000 to get that certificate. You do end up getting Hilton Gold status and also a Priority Pass that has 10 free visits per year. I think this is a good pick for someone who's testing the waters, or if you're someone who's just grinding and working and you're focused on making that money, but you still want to earn points for that honeymoon or big trip in 2 to 3 years. The last Hilton card is the no annual fee one. 5x for dining, US supermarkets, and also gas stations. So based off MR transfer rates, about 1.7 to 2.5x. If you're a high spender, I feel like there's better options out there, and for low spenders, I think you're better off chasing intro bonuses. This very much feels like a gardening card, so if you're taking a step back from things, maybe you have a newborn and you're focused on that instead, or if you have gone through a lot of other cards and you got to this card and now you're waiting for those to reset. It's on the list, but pretty far down. Number 7 is actually 3 cards, but I would say that the main one is going to be the Delta Blue. The reason for this is because the Delta Blue, Delta Gold, and also the Delta Platinum all earn 2x back on dining. The Delta Gold and Platinum have annual fees though, and people generally get them for other reasons than the multipliers. Delta Gold is mostly there for people who want free checked bags, and Delta Platinum is free checked bags plus status boost plus, I would say, companion certificate if you want to keep the card long term. MR transfers to Delta at a 1-to-1 rate, so you could argue that it's 2x MR points. I'm probably going to get cancelled, but Delta is one of the worst transfer partners out there. I'm a fan of Delta, I fly Delta, I really like Delta, and I like their brand, but their points are not as good. So for me, when I'm looking at points, I'm looking for 2 cents per point and that high upside. Delta miles are pretty much the opposite of this. You have pegged value, so you can get guaranteed 1 cent per point, and generally with a card, 1.2 cents per point. If you find a flash sale, maybe 1.5, and if you're very lucky, once in a blue moon, maybe 2 cents per point for a business class flight. And even then, it's not that great because it tends to be older products. I feel like the last time I saw one of those was in 2019 or 2020. Maybe it was late 2019 to book for 2020. The reason I'm saying this is because there are a lot of people who like Delta and they transfer points over there, and then they find out afterwards that they have a ton of points and they can't use it for the purpose that they want. To be fair though, I think Delta miles are very great for economy travelers because you're locking in that value, similar to Southwest. If you're someone trying to maximize the number of flights, or you have a family in particular, then it can be pretty useful. Okay, so which one of these should I get? The order of the video is pretty much my ranking. I put Bonvoy ahead of Hilton because there is a little bit more play there if you want to get a bit advanced. To me, the gold card is a workhorse card, probably a top 3 card across all issuers for this purpose, and American Express's best card. With a $10 effective annual fee, it's pretty easy to plug into other systems such as Chase, Citi, or Bank of America. It could also be a pretty good companion card to something like the Venture X, where the Venture X deals with travel while this one is the workhorse. Again, if you want to learn about cards and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. My question for you is, how would you rank these 7 cards, or at least which are your top 3 cards? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Also, kind of a side question, but would you like American Express to make a super card that was, let's say, $1,200 or $1,500? So instead of having to juggle 3 or 4 different cards and all these different benefits and stuff, it's just one big super card. Big favor, give this a thumbs up, share with anyone else who might benefit. Otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.